You're listening to Your Purpose and Business podcast, where we connect you to possibilities. I'm your host, Raquel Walters, a two-time best-selling author, millennial speaker, corporate trainer, advocate, and clinical social worker at heart. Your Purpose and Business podcast will connect you with everyday successful people who will share their impactful stories, insights, challenges, failures, and triumphs on how they're navigating the working world, whether by climbing the 9-to-5 corporate ladder or starting, growing, and scaling their business. So grab your pen and notebook because you'll want to implement the nuggets and tools, strategies shared in every episode. Class is in session. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Purpose and Business podcast. This is Raquel Walters, and I'm here with the lovely Julia Lazareck. So Julia Lazareck is the president of Prison Families Alliance, Inc., and many families of incarcerated individuals struggle with keeping the family together. PFA provides multiple diverse support systems and communication platforms in order to keep the family together through the criminal justice process, thus safer communities and minimizing recidivism. Julia has published Prison, The Hidden Sentence: What to Do When Your Loved One is Arrested and Incarcerated. That includes her story about her brother's incarceration, along with other stories and important information everyone needs to know. Her goal is to raise awareness and to create a more compassionate society about the effects of incarceration on families and children. You can also listen to her podcast by the same name, Prison, The Hidden Sentence. Julia has lived in Las Vegas for 23 years and married to Les for 14 years. Mrs. Lazareck, welcome to the Your Purpose and Business podcast. I'm so happy to have you on today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's just so great to be here with you. Thank you.
Awesome. And just tell us, Julia, your bio, it's geared towards your service with helping families deal with their loved one who has been incarcerated, but share with the audience something about yourself, if you don't mind, that's not included in your bio that I just read.
Well, I think one of the things that I love to do is to hike. Mm-hmm. And in 2000, I started a hiking group called the Trailblazers. Nice. And we hike. There's so much great hiking here in Las Vegas and surrounding states. And it's just a wonderful pastime. It's great to be outdoors with nature.
Yeah, I love that. Nature is good. It serves our overall wellness. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just being in touch with nature and the trees and just walking outside, it's being inside all the time, especially with COVID. Even with COVID, you can still get outside and walk. So I really encourage everybody to at least get outside a little bit if they can.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that 1,000%. And so, Julia, you're the president of Prison Families Alliance, Inc. Share with us, how did that started? I know in the bio you mentioned about your brother being incarcerated. Could you give us some background about why it is that you chose us to start this organization to help families?
Yeah, actually, I'm a co-founder. We actually took an organization that was in progress for many years called Friends and Family of Incarcerated Persons, kind of a mouthful. And it was run by Donna Metcalf. And there was in-person meetings, in-person support meetings. Because when somebody's taken into the prison system, they don't go alone. They take their friends and family and communities with them. So people on the outside also need people to talk to, because unless you've been through it, it's really hard to relate to. And about 5 years ago, Donna passed away, and I knew about the group. I had attended once in a while my brother was incarcerated, and saw that there was a real need to keep it going, because I realized that, for me, when my brother was incarcerated, that I didn't tell anybody, I didn't talk about it, because there's so much pain and stigma and guilt and all these feelings associated with it, that I just kept it inside. And I realized that I needed to share with people. I needed to keep that platform open so that anybody that was going through it could have somewhere to go. And I joined with another group in New York, and we joined together and we created Prison Families Alliance. And when the pandemic hit, a little over 2 years ago, we went online. So now Prison Families Alliance provides peer support groups and other programs virtually online, like we're talking now on Zoom, so that people can get the support that they need.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's a good way to help everyone to stay connected, you know. Share with us, because like you said, it's very difficult for, people who have loved ones who have been incarcerated. And it's also difficult to navigate that system as well, even pre-COVID, pre the pandemic, right? So I believe my question is, how does your organization help? How do you outreach these individuals? Because a lot of times too, there's a lot of shame and guilt, I would imagine, in addressing or even speaking up to say, hey, my loved one is in prison because of whatever reason. But how do you kind of reach out to that community and sort of get everyone together and to show them that, hey, there's support here. We have this underlying or not underlying, but we have this commonality amongst us, and how can we come together to work through navigating the prison system in order to be connected with our loved one that's there, or also to lend support to others who are on the outside. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's all about the family and keeping the family together. And how do we do that? We do that by reaching out. It's word of mouth. It's through social media. It's through our website, through finding us on the web. Just people are looking for places where they can go to get information, to get resources, and just to talk to other people that understand what they're going through. I mean, over the pandemic, we've helped over 200 families, and there's so many more. So reaching out to people is challenging, and it's something that we strive to keep putting stuff on social media, putting stuff on our website, and people that have loved ones that are incarcerated talk to other people. So we're growing. And being a national organization, there's people out there that don't have organizations in their area or anybody to talk to, small towns. We're almost in every state. We have somebody that's called in from every state. And what we find is that it doesn't matter where you are, that you're experiencing the same things. It's one of those things that if you've been through it, that you can understand it and you can help other people. And we started with general support groups, just one general support group a month, and people started coming and it grew. So we added 3 more general support meetings. And then this month we added a general support meeting in Spanish so that we can also help that population. We have, if I can go through what we found is we needed specific groups for certain people, like caregivers. If a parent or both parents are taken into the prison system, it's usually a family member or grandparents that are taking care of the children. And how do they talk to the children? Should they take the children to visit? So there's all these things that people in that group can talk to and share information. Mm-hmm. And also when somebody's taken into the prison system, it's a loss. My brother was incarcerated for 15 years and he had a life sentence, and he did serve his life sentence because my brother passed of hepatitis C while he was serving his sentence. So there is real loss, like my loss with my brother, but also when somebody's taken into the prison system, there's an empty seat at the table. So there's also that loss. So this group can talk about different ways that they can handle that loss. How do they handle birthdays? How do they handle the holidays and different things like that? And we have another woman that's in our group, and her son is incarcerated with autism. So she facilitates a group for people who have loved ones that are incarcerated with a mental illness. When somebody has a mental illness and they're with you, you can make sure they take their medicine. You can take care of them. But when they're incarcerated, how do you advocate for them? So this group talks about ways that they can help themselves and help their loved ones. And then we also have a group for family reentry, because when somebody comes home, it's not the same person. And we wanted to make sure that when somebody comes home, that's not the end of the journey. You know, if they're on probation, there's certain things that you need to know. Do you have them come to your house? Do they live in transitional housing? So there's a lot of decisions that people aren't aware of and things to prepare for when their loved one comes home. We're doing a morning coffee. So, you know, it gets pretty heavy, you know, talking in the support meetings. So the morning coffee is just where we can get together and share. And then we also have a library series here in Las Vegas where we have speakers come in, and that's open to the public. We have a speaker meeting where this is virtual. I mean, there's a lot. And I just wanted to, you know, we've just grown so much to meet the needs of the people out there. We have a speaker that comes in every month. And what's really dear to my heart is the kids group, because the kids are the innocent victims. And a lot of times kids feel guilty. And how do they deal with it? So the kids group is wonderful because we have trained facilitators that facilitate that group, that have activities for the kids. They can talk about things kid to kid. And then also, you know, how do they set boundaries and keep that relationship with their parent? So those are our peer support groups. We have more, but I'll just stop there.
No, I want you to continue, Julia, because it's very important to educate us all on the community that's out there, because and I'm thinking this is just a wild guess, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people that don't even know that communities and organizations such as the Prison Families Alliance is out there for them. And while you were speaking, you know, I was saying to myself, oh my gosh, it's so great that, you know, you have this diverse support as well. You're not only thinking about the families on the outside, but you're also thinking, you know, about the language barrier, right? You know, you spoke about having a group too, a support group for Spanish speaking communities, right? And I'm sure as you grow, you'll expand to other languages. I didn't even think, to be honest with you, and it's not something that we think about, how are the children affected too? You know, at birthdays, you know, gatherings that, you know, your loved one is not there due to an incarceration. Also the, loved ones dealing with mental illness who are incarcerated, advocating to make sure that they're getting the proper medications on time and so forth. And I think that it's so important that you spoke to that, because there's so many things that we, at least for me, I do know that the system does not necessarily cater to. And so it's great that organizations such as, you know, Prisons Family Alliance is there to support all these family members so that, you know, they can, one, be encouraged, one, get resources on how to navigate this entire system, and also to feel supported along this, you know, I'm going to use that term, this sort of new normal for them, right? And shifting gears a bit, Julia, I do know that you have your book, Prison, The Hidden Sentence, What to Do When Your Loved One is Arrested and Incarcerated. And I would love for you to speak a little bit more about this book, because I do believe that it is a tool and it can be used as a guide as well on supporting that family or individual that have a loved one incarcerated.
Great, thank you. Let me just throw out some statistics. There's over 7 million people that are in the prison system. So these are people that are sitting in jails, serving a sentence or waiting to be sentenced in prisons on parole and probation. And there's over 5 million children who have an incarcerated parent, over 10 million that have or had an incarcerated parent. And it's really important that we focus on the children because they're twice as likely to offend, you know, having an incarcerated parent. So even though the United States is only 5% of the world population, we have over 20% of the incarcerated population. And I don't think people realize that there's people all around them, like me, that didn't talk about it for years. And they're neighbors, they're their coworkers, they're friends. I have a friend that I was friends with for 15 years. And it wasn't until I started talking about this that she told me her daughter was incarcerated. For 15 years, we were friends and neither one of us spoke about it. So that's why I think this book is so important, Prison, The Hidden Sentence, because this has everything in it that I wish that I knew when my brother was incarcerated. You know, there's so many things I didn't know back then. So this book goes through, what do you do when somebody's arrested? What is it like going to court? What is it like when they are incarcerated? Things to expect, things to do, how to take care of yourself, how to lead a balanced life. And it has my story and other stories in here also. And at the end of each chapter, there's a list of things that you can do. So it not only has information, but it also gives you guidelines on things that you can do when a loved one is incarcerated or in the system. And then also I have a podcast by the same name, Prison, the Hidden Sentence. And in that I interview family members, people in law enforcement, just anything that's informational so people can get information, they can learn from each other, and they can see that they're not alone if they're going through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
And you can get this on Amazon. Just
yes, on Amazon. Okay. And no worries, folks, her links to the book would be also included in the show notes as well. Julia, this is a tough topic to talk about. And I can imagine, like you even said, your friend of 15 years didn't even share about her daughter being incarcerated until you opened up about your brother, right? And so it is a difficult topic, I can only imagine, to speak on. And so if you could give us, at least one or two ways in which, we can start that conversation with someone, or how can, someone seek out support if it's that they don't feel like they can speak to their family or to their friends about what it is that they're experiencing and what it is that they're going through as it relates to having a loved one in the prison system.
Well, I'll answer the last question first. If you have any questions, if you need somebody to talk to, if you need a safe, non-judgmental, open, compassionate platform, come to prisonfamiliesalliance.org. It's right above me, prisonfamiliesalliance.org, and go to the calendar. The calendar has all of our meetings and all of our workshops. We have several workshops that we offer. We have one coming up on the art of what's possible, find your purpose, and create the life you deserve. Because some people don't live their life. When my brother was incarcerated, I felt guilty if I went out and enjoyed myself. And the more powerful and the more successful and the better we live our lives, the better we can support our loved one that's incarcerated. We have an empowerment workshop, right? To keep yourself moving forward, because you can get depressed and you can become stagnant. So let's move forward and live our lives so that we can be better for our loved ones and for ourselves. We have a forgiveness workshop, because sometimes there's forgiveness for ourselves and for our loved ones. And then also trauma. When somebody's taken into the prison system, there's a trauma. So I think reaching out to Prison Families Alliance, looking for a local Facebook page. Some of the prisons, it's not run by the prisons, but people who have loved ones that are incarcerated in a certain jail or prison might start a Facebook page so people can share what's going on in that facility. So I think just reaching out to different groups that you can find, and of course reach out to us. And your other question about, if you hear that somebody's been incarcerated, a friend, a family member, you see it on the news, your first instinct might be like, what did they do? And you might want to ask that. And for us, if we have a loved one that's taken into the prison system, we may not agree with what they've been convicted of, but we still love that person. They're still a family member. So have compassion. So maybe ask them, how are you doing? When are you going to see so-and-so? How is so-and-so doing? And ask them more compassionate, empathetic questions rather than just, what did he do? Because again, we focus on the person because we want to make sure that our loved one that is incarcerated, that is going through the criminal justice system, that they can be rehabilitated, that they can come out and be a contributing member of society.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because oftentimes when you hear of either your loved one specifically or others being incarcerated, our mind automatically think to be negative. Oh my gosh, he or she deserved that. What did he or she do? And then the gossip sometimes that comes along with that, amongst your community, right? And so it's important, and I love that you said that, offer compassion, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all make mistakes. Some of us, and a lot of times people don't even talk about this, a lot of people who are incarcerated are wrongly incarcerated, right, or wrongly sentenced to. We don't speak about that a lot. But also overall, show compassion. And I love that you said, ask how you can be of support, instead of finding out, okay, the gossip behind what happened, what was done. And I think that was so important to share. And what a blessing for yourself and your organization, Prison Families Alliance, to be able to support everyone that's going through this, because oftentimes society, and as individuals, we don't tend to think about how our families dealing with things of this nature, right? And what I wanted to ask you, Julia, it sounds like this has become your life's purpose or mission, so to speak. And you're on a Your Purpose and Business podcast, and I cannot let you leave without asking you. And if you could share with us, is this a part of your purpose and your life mission to help these families?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because what happened was after my brother passed, I started receiving compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that if I had been talking about it all those years, that I would have been receiving support and compassion. And I look back and I realized that I was living a hidden sentence. It was a self-imposed sentence. And I was serving time with him. And a lot of people on the outside are serving time with their loved ones. People don't realize what an emotional and financial um, um, burden it is. And I don't mean burden a bad thing, but it takes a toll on you, especially for me. I had to get airfare, I had to rent a car, I had to stay in a hotel, so I couldn't visit him as much. But going back to my passion, I realized that what I was going through and how I wasn't living my life, I was going through the motions. The hiking group that I told you about that I started in 2000, nobody there knew what I was going through, right? Because I didn't talk about it. And there was probably other people in the group that were going through it too. And we didn't support each other. So my goal, my mission, my passion, whatever you want to call it, is that I don't want to see anybody have to go through this alone. That there are resources, and I want people to stay healthy because, like I keep saying, it's all about the family. We want to keep the family together. It broke my family apart. So you don't have to go through it alone. You can keep the family together. You can help your loved one. You can support them while supporting yourself. You can have a good life while your loved one is serving their time. And when they come out, there's certain things that Prison Families Alliance can provide. We're working on a workshop for family reentry so that you guys can all have a successful reentry and your loved one can be a contributing member of society. Because
Yes.
it's not easy when somebody comes home. There's a lot of challenges. So we want to help you with that, help you understand, understand what those are, as well as what resources are available to you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also another important piece too. How do they, reconnect back with society?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Julia, is there any upcoming workshops or projects that the Prison Families Alliance is working on, or even you personally? I know you have your book out. What are some of the ways that people can connect with you and or the organization?
Right. Well, the book, I just met with somebody that is working on getting the book into law offices. So when people, go in, that they can have access to it so the family knows what to do. And also to transcribe my book into Spanish so that, as we know, there's a lot of minorities that are in the prison system, there's a lot of things in the prison system that need to be changed. However, I'm focusing on the families because the more educated, the more information that the families have, the better they can advocate for their loved one and the better that we can make change. So that's why I think it's so important to work with the families and keep them strong. People can reach out to us at info or connect at prisonfamiliesalliance.org. They can go to the website, look at the calendar. We have 8 facilitators. We have several meetings a week. In February, we're going to have the Art of What's Possible, Find Your Purpose and Create the Life You Deserve. In March, we're going to have the Empowerment Workshop, how to make lemonade out of lemons. And that facilitator is awesome. All of our facilitators are awesome. And that'll be followed by the Forgiveness Workshop. And this summer, we'll be rolling out the Family Reentry. So, just anything. We have a hotline. If anybody, the number is on our site. We have volunteers that answer our hotline, and that number is 702-763-1390. We have our email that I just gave you at connect@prisonfamiliesalliance.org. And you can also connect with us on our website. There's affirmations on the website. There's resources and the calendar. I don't think we can make it any easier that you just go to the calendar and click on what you want to go to. So we hope to see you all on Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And how can persons connect with you personally, Julia, if they wanted to?
They can just reach out to Julia, Julia, at prisonfamiliesalliance.org.
Awesome. And Julia, before I let you go, I ask everyone this, is there a certain routine, ritual, or even mantra that you use every day or, as needed just to get you grounded, especially when you are experiencing challenging days? Is there anything that you do specifically?
I just look at everything I'm grateful for. I mean, there's so many things I'm grateful for. I have my health. I have my eyes, my ears. I can speak. I just focus on the little things that I'm grateful for. I thank my feet so that I can walk. Just little things. So just focus on what you have and not on what you don't have or what's going on around you, because you have control of your feelings. You can't change other people, but you can change the way that you interact with other people. So just start with yourself and be grateful for what you have. And you asked me what I do, and that's what I do. I'm just grateful every day for the little things that I have. I feel so blessed.
Yes. Well said. So everyone, you definitely want to connect with Mrs. Lazareck here. She's the president of Prison Families Alliance, Inc. And you definitely want to also, buy her book, purchase her book, even if, you don't personally have a loved one in the prison system. But if you know of someone, definitely go on Amazon. The link will be posted in the show note. Grab her book, Prison, The Hidden Sentence, What to Do When Your Loved One is Arrested and Incarcerated. Julia, it is just a pleasure to have you on. The work that you're doing is very, very important, and I applaud you for your sacrifice, your gift of service, your compassion, your wanting to assist everyone, to help them to navigate the system, especially these families, and by lending your experience and your support and connecting everyone to resources that's going to help them on this journey for them. So again, thank you for being a part of the Your Purpose and Business podcast. And I know that you continue to impact many, many lives.
You too. I just so appreciate the opportunity to talk. And, even if we just reach one person that's out there that's struggling, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
There's so many people. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And guys, remember, always be good to yourself, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you for listening. If you've loved this episode, let's stay in touch. Head over to raquelwalters.com and subscribe to my email list so that I can send you updates on new episodes, exclusive motivational nuggets, and insider knowledge that's only shared when you join our community. Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review, as I want to know your thoughts about every episode. Follow me on Instagram at Your Purpose and Business Podcast. And remember, your life is beautiful, and this is a part of your journey. So embrace it. Speak to you soon.